Hello there guys and welcome back to the channel. So quite a few people have been posting and talking about the side event, a left side path, mainly Phoenix and Fuel the Fire node, but Medusa is actually by far the worst champion. So in this video I am effectively gonna be showing how to deal with this node and this path, but it also serves like a hidden purpose because we will have this particular node in the Gladiator Circuit week 3 and 4 metas. Therefore, this also kind of serves like as a mini MVP video for that meta offensively, as well as letting you guys kind of prepare for it and just giving you a visual example of how potentially badly things can go. And the main node here is whenever the defender gains Fury effect, they become passively unstoppable for 5 seconds. If they are already unstoppable, they become passively unblockable for 5 seconds. There are few key things to this node. Number one, it says Fury effect, so it works on a buff or passive. Therefore, different amount of champions will work for this. As in, like, there will be some champions, for instance, like neutralized champions that can stop Fury buffs, that will work great against specific champions but will not work against the passives. And it is also important to note that the unstoppable is a passive as well as is unblockable, and therefore mystic champions will not be able to, stagger that and nullify that. As long as a Fury effect triggers, even if you do have a neutralize on champion, or if you had a stagger or you nullify it immediately, they will still go unblockable, and if it triggers again, they will go unstoppable and then unblockable. But first, let's start with kind of like the main ways of dealing with unstoppable. In our game, we basically kind of have three main things. We have slow, we have grit, and then, well, those are the two main ones. We have de-accelerate, but that typically is slower in science class and will not be really viable in most cases. And then we have some special unique abilities like Valkyrie, basically. So my bad there, I already mixed up the start, but this actually works kind of perfect to illustrate the problem with a lot of champions. Because if you do not get your level 1 in time with a lot of champions, you will struggle quite a bit. As in case with Shield, for instance, as in case with a ton of different champions who have slow on that level 1 or grit on that level 1 in this case. For instance, Red Guardian could potentially be absolutely fantastic because he has nigh infinite uptime on that slow. But if you can't get your level 1, you're going to be screwed. So a massive tempo here is going to be needed in a lot of cases, but there will be, against certain set of champions, it will simply not work. And here we are at the next problem. My grit has expired, but my opponent's unblockable and stoppable. And that's a problem against a lot of defenders that continuously gain Fury effects, or if there's a node helping them. And therefore, one piece of advice is that typically there is a respite in champion gaining their Fury effects. In most cases, as long as you do not touch them, if you do have enough ground to operate, quite often you can wait it out. But in order to be able to do that, you kind of need to be quite familiar with the nodes involved and the specific champion abilities. And now that I have done that, obviously I finished the fight just fine, but it is still risky, especially if you have to continuously keep getting to your level 1. As soon as the AI does not work with you, the fight can go very bad very quickly. And then there is Silk and some other slow champions. And with Silk especially, the slow duration really needs to be looked at and studied, because Silk's not going to work in a lot of matchups you think she will. She's still going to be fine. She's going to be good, because as long as they're not unblockable, you can safely land that heavy attack even if they are already unstoppable. But if you're unable to keep the opponent in the corner, it will be quite problematic to actually do anything, especially if they are already unblockable. So with Silk it's kind of important to play quite cautious and just, weave in as many heavy attacks and be super careful. But Silk, just like any other champions with slow on heavy attack, like She-Hulk for instance, would work as well. And then we have neutralized champions. And neutralized champions will not work against champs with passive furies, but they will be the only possible answers against a ton of other champions. Like against Medusa, there's just about no good counters to Medusa, because she continuously keeps gaining those Furies until she reaches 6, and you still need to deal with that auto block if she has at least 3 Furies, and if you do hit in her auto block, she will carry on gaining Furies again, and it's just a bad fight. How bad? I'm going to show you guys in just a moment. So neutralized champions will be absolutely vital for some of the stuff, and they will be important how. And then again, as I mentioned, we have Valkyrie. Valkyrie does not necessarily have to get to level 1, but she needs to exceed a combo of 10 in order to be able to do anything here. Now that I have gotten to a combo of 10, obviously the entire fight is just a basic vanilla fight, as long as I keep in mind that my opponent is unblockable, and therefore obviously Valkyrie will have place in the next meta in Battlegrounds 2, and is absolutely usable here for as long as you can get in those 10 hits before opponent actually goes unblockable. So that is, again, the most crucial bit. You need to be able to get your effects up fast, like fast in specific matchups. And there will be some nightmare champions in the upcoming Battlegrounds meta too. Right, then we obviously have champions like Shang-Chi. Shang-Chi is actually better than most because of instead of needing to get to level 1 or 2, or because instead of needing to get like 10 hits in, he just needs 2 hits. As long as you can parry, do medium, you're gonna be fine. Now here I did make a small mistake, but the entire fight is effectively gonna be under control. Now this node has Bridge Get Richer, so it does get dicey in places, but you know, it's not the biggest deal. And yeah, he does have the ability to stack his slows, so that is quite helpful as well, because you know, you can never be too sure, and they do last quite a long time. So as we can see here, Shang-Chi is definitely going to be one important character as well. And I forgot to show the final clip here, but it is going to be quite nasty one. It's going to be a showcase of Medusa specifically, and just a warning to you guys: keep Medusa in mind. Medusa pretty much just gonna about single-handedly, I think, warrant adjustment in roster, and you know, running that weekend or something, because it's gonna be rough. It's gonna be rough. And here's gonna be a situation where I can get my slow in immediately. You know, perfect. I can get my slow in after like a single heavy attack slows in, but she's unstoppable, unblockable already at this point, and she carries on that unblockable, and I am kind of screwed here, and I need to deal with auto block, and you're dead. And a lot of fights like that will happen against Medusa, where you're just gonna die without a proper counter. There will be other extremely annoying champions like Crossbones and Titanias and OG Hulk, especially because his Furies are passives, but Medusa as well. Definitely keep an eye out for her. So I hope the first parts of the fights themselves actually kind of helped you guys in the use of champions and how to tackle the nodes, and therefore we can take a look at some of the potential MVPs. Obviously skill class has several. We do have Shield, we do have Shang-Chi, we do have Stealth Suit Spider-Man. There's Valkyrie. There will be a handful of others as well in skill class. Hawkeye is not going to work in Battlegrounds, otherwise he would be actually quite good. In science class, I think Quicksilver is going to be one of the best ones, because again, you can just drop in your heavy and then quite immediately get that slow up, and then maintain it for just about the entire fight. We have the new Falcon that's going to do extremely well, because especially if awakened, you can start with the slow, and that's going to be great. We have Sentry, which I don't think is going to be a great Battlegrounds champion, but he does have his level 1 ability, so as long as you get level 1, inflict non-stacking, basically it's again halt debuff, which is brand new debuff that works kind of like a grit passive, so they're going to be unblockable. So if you have a big Sentry, it might be time to try him out. Red Guardian, get your level 1 and you should be fine, but again, not always possible. She-Hulk, one of the better options, I think. You know, parry heavy and you're good. You can upkeep that slow for a very, very long time. We have Silk, that's going to work, but it's going to be a bit finicky and tricky. We have Spider-Gwen, that actually I am considering for a potential rank up as well, because, yeah, very solid slow on her heavy attack, very easy to access. And then we have the neutralized champions, obviously, Wiccan and Rintra and Tigra. Neutralize also kind of has to be instant for them to work. And then we have Beta Bill with his Grit. It is important to note you will likely have to alter your rotation a little bit with Beta Bill, but he should be quite solid. Because again, he gets that Grit just on throwing the heavy attack. It is important that Grit isn't typically as potent as slow, though, I would say, because with Grit passive, they will get the unstoppable and they will go unblockable, and you will have to play against unblockable defenders the entire fight. As I said, I'm sure there are a handful of more, but I'm mainly focused this video on the champions that can get to that slow the fastest, basically. So let me know which significant champions I missed, and please don't be like Anti-Venom. Like, you know, Anti-Venom, for instance, can get the deaccelerates up, which is great, but you need to land a ton of hits in order to get to that place, and it just, you know, likely will not be good enough. Yeah. So hopefully this video was useful to those of you struggling with the event quest, and potentially give you a little bit more information about the upcoming Battleground season. Well, Battlegrounds Penta. Anyways, I'll catch you guys soon. Bye-bye. Hello there, guys, and welcome back to the channel. So